Hey guys! Alright, so for today all we're going to do is we're going to go over the answers for assignment 2 and 3. So take those out if you have them. If not, that's fine too. So what you're going to do is just look at me giving out how to do them. Also, I need to get in the mindset of a high school student, so I should probably change to something I would have wore when I was your age. So time travel, let's do magic. Ah! Ah! Alright. Okay, alright. Probably not like freshman me, like your age, but like high school me. Alright, so now that I'm a high school student, let's go do some homework, losers. Alright, now that I'm in my school desk, let's do some schoolwork because I'm a senior now in a freshman biology class, so this is really easy. So this is how a senior would do it. So answer number 1, it's asking if the intern tries to show their knowledge and says that all the fossils, spelled it wrong, are related and are common answers to the kit fox. Why is he wrong? Alright, so what I did is for the kit fox, I highlighted or underlined in color the 4 traits it has and compared them to everybody else. So fossil A, it's got nothing in common because fossil A only has stumpy back legs and a detachable jaw. Fossil B has only one in common, which is the 4 legs, and front and back it's got large webbed feet, which the kit fox does not have. And then C has nothing in common because it has long fins front and back and a detachable jaw, and it's also got gills. So the only one that the kit fox shares anything in common to make it a common ancestor is going to be B, but this intern says that all of them. So I'm going to say no, only fossil B has a homologous structure with the fox, and we're looking at homologous structures that are similar towards each other. So that's how I figured out number 1. 1A is which of the 3 animals would be the right to have all 3 of their common ancestors be the fossils, and why? The snake, because they all share the detachable jaw. So let's look at that one. So yeah, the rattlesnake has a detachable jaw, and fossil A, B, and C all have detachable jaws. So they all share that common homologous structure. So that means that they are all going to be the common ancestor for the rattlesnake. All 3 of them are the common ancestor for rattlesnake. Alright, so now let's go with number 2. One day the intern comes to you with the skull of a kit fox, and he totally didn't kill it to prove a point, and shows you its jaws, and that it has small structures that indicate the ability to dislocate its jaw, but that the muscles won't allow for it. So to me that sounds like a vestigial structure because the jaws are able to separate, but the muscles don't let it do it. So the separating the jaw is that vestigial structure, a remnant of the past, because it's a useless ability. It's still there technically. It's still there. If the muscles weren't there, you could detach it, but the muscles are there now in the jaw to not let it go up. So with this new finding, would his original claim for all 3 fossils be true? Yes, because of the VS vestigial structure of the detachable jaw. So technically, since it has a vestigial structure of the detachable jaw, it could be all 3. So this portion is asking for us, are there any homologous structures or vestigial structures between the kit fox and fossil A? I put homologous structures between fossil A and the kit fox are no. We already said that. Fossil A, it has stumpy back legs and detachable jaw. Kit fox has none of that. So none of that for the kit fox. So it's going to be no. No for homologous structure, but yes, it does have a vestigial structure of the detachable jaw, which fossil A does have. The next one was for homologous structures or vestigial structures between the kit fox and fossil B. We said yeah already because we color coordinated it. It has 4 legs with kit fox, and then fossil B has 4 legs as well. So that's a structure they share similarly. So that's a homologous structure. So yes, right here, they share 4 legs. And they also, like in A, they share the vestigial structure of the detachable jaw. Alright, last one on this page. Homologous structure, vestigial structure between the kit fox and fossil C. Homologous structure, I said no, because if we look between The fossil C, it only has long fins, front and back, and a detachable jaw, and it's got gills. None of those things the kit fox has, because the kit fox only has 4 legs, fixed jaw, lungs, and fur. So, no for the homologous structure, but yes for the vestigial structure of the jaw. So that's that one. We're almost done. We got one more page left to go. This one is the beginning, or being the nice person you are and slightly afraid of the intern because he will murder you. He actually will. You let him know that for the kit fox to have all of these fossils being common ancestor, that they need to share at least one homologous structure. So now if you're the intern, what fossil would you say is the common ancestor to the kit fox? Which one it is? So I said the kit fox has a common ancestor with fossil B, because if we look, that's the only one that has a homologous structure, the one they share in common. Kit fox has 4 legs and fossil B has 4 legs. So for it to be a common ancestor, you need to share homologous structures. We're going to say that these are it. So we know for a fact it's common ancestor because they both share those 4 legs. Alright, last one is if you know for a fact that fossil C is the ancestor for fossil B is the ancestor to fossil A, and fossil A is the ancestor to the rattlesnake. So let's just write that down real quick. So C is the ancestor to B is the ancestor to A, and A is the ancestor to the snake. We got that down. Alright, so now let's separate comma. Does the kit fox and the rattlesnake share a common ancestor? So if we said the kit fox has the common ancestor with B, then yeah, because all 3 of those are the common ancestor for the snake, and the kit fox has a common ancestor for that species B, for that fossil B. So yes, fossil B is the common ancestor the snake shares, and so does the kit fox. So that's assignment 2. Oh wait, I got a ring, I got a buzz. Let's see who's texting me. Oh, it's my boo thing, and what?
It was at this moment that he knew.
So we are going to just pretend we never got that and never talk to her again, and hopefully nothing happens, but we'll see. You know what will take my mind off of things like that? Assignment 3, because I already did it, so let's explain it really quick. Alright, so 1 is right here for assignment 3. We're doing cladograms. So for this, all we really had to do was I did that cheat sheet that I remember, or the cheating way. It goes from left to right, the simplest to more complex. Simple numbers, lower numbers, higher numbers of traits. So I said, and I could edit it now because I didn't do it. So we're going to go from here. So which one of these has only 1 trait, or the least amount of traits? Species 2. So for A, that's going to be species 2. So if that's for that one, next one up, because it has 1 trait, that's why I put there. Simplest trait, 1 trait, only has a tail. Alright, now second one's going to have 2, so it's going to have 2 traits, tail and fang, that's 2. So this is going to be for species 3. Alright, moving on up. We gotta go for 3 traits now. It's got a tail, fur, and fangs. That's 3. So I know I'm gonna put that here for species 4. And then last but not least, process of elimination. Species 1's right there. So, because I use that cheat of simplest to complex, the least amount of traits goes on first. The most traits go up here, and then you just gradually fill them in. So if there's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4 traits, that's how it goes. Also, I know too, because look, they all come from that one common ancestor, so whatever trait they're going to have, they got to build up on it. So if species 2 only has a tail, I know that the next one's got to have a tail too. Oh yeah, it has a tail too, and it's also got fangs now, so that one's for fangs. Oh, wait, look, so now it's got tails and fangs. The next one's going to have 3, so it has a tail, fangs. It's also got fur now for species 4. For the last one, because it's got 4 traits, I know it's going to still have a tail, fur, fangs, but now it's got 4 legs. So that's another way you could do it, because they all got to have the ones from the past. And that's actually going to help us out with the next one. So that's how I was able to answer that. So species 1 is D, 2 A, species 3 is B, species 4 is where C is supposed to be. Alright, So now using the information from question 1, which species is the closest relative to species 1, explain why. I said 4 because they share the most amount of traits. So let's go to 4. So species 1 and 4. So 1 right here and 4 there. Yeah, because not only because they're close in proximity, and remember, the higher you go, the more time has passed, that they're closer in time because they're at the closest elevation. They're also right next to each other. They share the most amount of traits. Species 4 right here has a tail, fur, and fangs, and so does species 3. It has tails, furs, and fangs. The only thing it has that species 4 doesn't have is 4 legs. So it's got one more than this one has, but species 1 has all of the traits that species 4 has. So that's going to be the answer for that, and then use information from question 1, which species is the furthest relative to species 1, explain why. I said 2, they have the least amount of traits in common. So yep, that's still true because 1's here, 2's there. They are the furthest away. There's 2 separate species in between them on this cladogram. And then also you could go for the amount of time. They are separated by the most amount of time, and also they're separated by traits. Because remember, this one has 4 traits, that has 1, so there's 3 traits in between them that separate them. Because this one only has 1, that's got 4, so it's 3 traits that make them unique from each other. Where were we? Because my camera totally didn't, die, and I had to recharge it for like an hour. Alright, so question 4. Yeah, so question 4, now we have a new cladogram that we need to now place where the traits go, separate the different species. So, as you already know, that species 2 has a tail, so that means everything at this point forward will have a tail, which they do. That has a tail for species 3, 4 has a tail, and so does 1. But then right here, what separates 2 and 3 is this trait right here, which is fangs. So we'll put that right there for fangs. So anything above this point will have fangs, which is true because fangs are there, fangs are there, fangs are there, so on and so forth, because fur is going to be the one that separates these two, 3 and 4, because they already have tails and fangs together, but 4 has fur, 3 doesn't, so anything at this point above will have fur, which is true. That has fur, and that has fur. So right here, what separates species 1 and 4 is trait 3, which is going to be 4 legs, which is true, because look, no 4 legs, 4 legs. So that's how I answered number 4. Let's go to 5. So 5 says, use information from question 4. What trait separates 1 and 4? So it's going to be right here. So what separates 1 and 4? Right here, trait 3, which we said was going to be 4 legs. So trait 3, which is 4 legs, separates species 1 and 4. So that was the answer to 5. Now 6 says, using the same information from question 1, how would the cladogram be affected if we change the trait of species 3? So species 3 right now has a tail and tentacles. So if we do it same as before, we know that species 2 has the least, so it's going to be right here. That means since it has a tail, everything over there is going to have tail. And then we're just going to repeat everything what we did basically right here. So I'm just going to do that for us. So, sorry, not tail, fang. Fangs are for that species, or that trait. We have fur for that one, and then 4 legs. So that means anything above that point, all those species will have that trait. All these species above that trait will have it, and so on and so forth. So let's try to answer the rest. So it's kind of like what we did on question 1, how we made them go 2 for A, 3, B, 4, and 1. It's the exact same question, except for 3 now has a new trait. It has a new trait of tentacles, but none of the other guys have tentacles. So we know for a fact that if we put this as tails and tentacles for species number 3, that means all those, so species 4 and 1 will have to have tentacles too. But look, they don't have tentacles. So we'll just have to leave that one blank. So for this one, you should have gotten like a mystery box or blank, but everything would have been the same from question 1, except that we have a blank now for B, species 3, because it has tentacles, and no one else has tentacles. So the last question where this all comes into play. So 7's asking us now try to fill a new cladogram with the given information. Exact same species. We have tentacle question 2. So we know that right here, this species 2 has a tail, so does A.5 has a tail, and all the other ones. So we know that right here at this point, they almost have tails. So everyone above there has tails. This is exactly filled out like question 4, except now the difference is we have that little branch off right there, and that's going to make a unique species for species 3. Because look, species 3 has a tail and tentacles. So this is exactly like, question 4, except there's that branch there, which now we know species 3 is going to be there because it has a tail, which it got because of that trait. It passed it on, but also tentacles. And it's unique, that unique little branch, because look, no one else has tentacles. If it said species 3 had tails, fang and tentacles, so fangs here, tail, fang, and tentacles, we know it's going to be right here for that branch, hypothetically speaking. So whatever trait it has, it needs to be passed up. It needs to pass that like checkpoint. So it has tails, so we know that it's going to be over here. It only had tails and tentacles. Tentacles, that unique trait right here for tentacles. Yeah, tentacles. So we know that species 3 is going to be at the 8.5 mark, but it's not going to be here. It's not going to be there, or it's not going to be there because it doesn't say it has like 4 legs, tentacles, or fur and tentacles, or fangs and tentacles, and those were what those unique traits that separated those species. So this is the answer you guys should have gotten. So my freshman friends, from a senior guy like me, that's how you would have done it. Hopefully this helps you out. But yeah, let's go see what Mr. G has to say.
Alright, so now that I'm done doing assignment 2 and 3, and I'm back in my adult body with my hair, you know what, now that I think about it, high school's pretty fun. Maybe I should go back and do it again. Now, alright, so enjoy your high school careers, because it's the one and only opportunity you have. But besides, oh, you can't really because you're in coronation. Anyways, so that's what we did today. So for your assignment today, I bet you're wondering what you want to do, or I want you to do. What you got to do is just write down which questions that we did, or I did right now, that you didn't have done that now makes sense. Because since I went over it, hopefully it makes better sense on how to do them. So just tell me which ones that I went over in this video that make more sense to you. But also, if there's any problems you have questions on, put that down there too. Alright, that is it. So have a nice day, enjoy yourselves, and be safe out there, because guess what's going to happen? Zombie apocalypse is next, so prepare yourself.